What would you say to someone who's saying, okay, I understand the concept, I understand going from resisting to love, going from hate to acceptance, and they understand now the principle behind it, but they're still saying, but I'm still really struggling with staying focused on the positiveness.
It's a practice. It's a practice just like anything else. When you first go to the gym, you can't do much and your muscles ache. But then if you keep practicing, you keep building muscle, then you get better and better and better and stronger, and things will start getting easier. It's just a matter of, okay, I'm going to shift my attention from the unwanted to the wanted, and every time I habitually shift back to fussing and worrying about the unwanted, I notice, because I start to feel anxious or I'm starting to feel discouraged or negative. And when I notice, I just redirect my thoughts and I redirect myself into a more positive place. And it's just a matter of practicing and practicing and practicing, like anything else. I'm from Amsterdam. We always ride bikes in Amsterdam. When you're in front of a traffic light and you need to start, the first couple of pedals are going to be hard, but once you have a certain momentum, then all of a sudden it becomes easy and effortlessly. And that's the same thing. When you first start getting present to where your attention is at and how that makes you feel, it's hard, and it may take some discipline to say, no, let's not go off on this worrisome train of thought. Let's shift my focus, my attention on something that feels a little better. In the beginning, it may really require something, and then just because of habit, your mind flips back into worrying about this or that, or getting upset about this or that, or you get sucked into a Twitter war about who's bad and wrong, etc., etc. But as you start practicing the better feeling thought, or start practicing giving your attention to what you actually do want, it does become easier and easier and easier, and your life will also start to reflect your newfound focus. And once you start to recognize in your reality, like, by golly, if I smile, the world smiles back at me. Oh, okay, that's nice, I like this. And then it becomes easier and easier and easier to choose the loving alternative, the positive alternative, the hopeful alternative. And then the beauty, the peace, the love becomes as addictive as the worry and the fear and the judgment and the condemnation and the hatred. It's just about practice.
What about someone who's kind of, they're on one side, but they're not vocal about it? So maybe they're looking at the Twitter feeds, they're looking at the Twitter shares, they're looking at the Facebook comments, and they're seeing the brutal comments from both sides. Mm-hmm. There's the pro-Trump supporters, brutal comments. There's the anti-Trump supporters, brutal comments. And what they do is they feed off of, Trump posts something on Facebook, and then they read 10 comments down of people's comments and all that stuff. What would you consider that? Is that feeding yourself abundance, or are you going to get sucked into it? And is that a good thing, or is it a bad thing? Is it a gray area? Thoughts?
Well, in the end of the day, all you really need to do is pay attention to how things make you feel. And if you feel good and uplifted and positive and hopeful and joyous when you read certain commentary or watch a certain movie or video or whatever it is that puts you in a state of mind that you desire, go do it. And if you are in a consciousness of really being frickin' pissed off, you are just frickin' pissed off at the world, at Trump, or at the anti-Trump, doesn't matter, you're pissed off. Guess what? You will look upon this video and get really pissed off. And it doesn't matter, I can show you a cute cat video and you'll find something to be pissed off about. Because it's not about the stuff out there. It's what do I choose to respond with that is going to determine your experience. People can look at anything and have completely different experiences. Because it's not about the thing, it's about what do you do, how do you interpret the thing that you are looking at, and what do you decide that it means. And if you are in an angry, frustrated state of mind, and it doesn't matter what you look at, it will get you angry and frustrated. If you're in a loving, compassionate, appreciative state of mind, it doesn't matter what you look at, you'll feel love, compassion, and appreciation. Because it is never about the stuff out there. It's about who you are being that determines your response. Honey, say something enlightening.
It would be so simple if the world there consisted of an objective reality that we could then manipulate into a form that we find acceptable. But it's a lot more mysterious than that. And the attitudes and the expectations that we bring to our perception will have a great influence on what it is that we are perceiving. And like any skill, it needs to be practiced, it needs to be refined, and it needs to be received. You know, these are all abilities that every normal-minded human has. We can do this. We can control our thoughts. Our mind is not ruling us. We are actually the ghost in the machine, so to speak. You know, ourselves, with a capital S, our self, what it is that gives us, each of us, a unique experience in the universe, and something that can't be duplicated by any other means except through what we have, what we are now experiencing. This is it. That self can make decisions, can create agendas, and then observe what shows up. Will there be resistance? Yes, there certainly will be. There'll be as much resistance, rather the resistance will be in direct proportion to our programming. And we're all programmed. We're programmed by our genetics, we're programmed by our parents, we're programmed by our friends, by our peers, by the society we live in. We all have a lot of programs running all the time. Some of them are in the background, some are in the foreground, but they're there. But they're not fixed, it's just software. It's like writing a new program, you know. Yeah, is it tedious work? Yes, it is tedious. Do you have to get your periods and your semicolons and your go-tos all in the right place? Yes, you have to, otherwise the program won't function. But once it is functioning, it appears to be automatic. No, it's not. It's a deliberate creation. But in the initial stages, it does take focus and intention.